I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:04 p.m. Special meeting of the Romeo Board of Education, October 5th, 2020. Could I have roll call, please, Mr. Antoine?
Sure. Mr. Antoine is here. Ms. Bonick is here. Ms. Barrows is absent with notice. Mr. Connor.
Here.
Dr. Demas.
Here.
Ms. Riley.
Here.
Mr. Young.
Here.
We could mute our mics and say the Pledge of Allegiance to get started, please. Okay, so a couple things before we get into the approval of the agenda. Just a reminder to our audience, we do have time for public comment. And because it's a special meeting and it's so short, we've got one opportunity for public comment tonight. So I also have several to read that people have sent in. Remember that public comment is a time for you to address the board, share your concerns, your thoughts. It's not a dialogue. So don't expect to be able to ask questions and get answers right away. We will certainly get back to you as needed, but it's just a time for you to address the board. I also wanted to clarify that the board has decided to disable the chat feature. Google Meets has a chat feature, and they've just come up with a opportunity to disable that. And we did that just so that we make sure that anything that's intended for public comment is on the record as public comment. So just in case you were looking for that feature, that's currently disabled. Okay, so now do I have a motion to approve tonight's amended agenda, which I'll explain in a sec?
Motion. Support.
Moved by Mr. Young, support by Dr. Demas. Dr. Robinson sent out an updated agenda just before we got online. The only change that we made was to provide an informational update before public comment and before any action. The board has had the information, but this is an opportunity for people who are on the call to hear the information firsthand. So there's an informational update been added before public comment and before action items. Anyone else have any comments on the agenda? No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Dr. Robinson, for the informational update, elementary in-person step 4 schedule change proposal.
Still letting some people in.
Okay.
I think it's probably easiest that, I know the proposal overview was pretty comprehensive that our elementary principals put through, but I think what might be easiest is for me to have Mrs. McFarland just display the calendar image, and then we'll talk about the actual amendment. We do have some of the principals on the call with us tonight, so if there's any specific questions the board might have, we can get them answered at that time. So Mrs. McFarland, if you want to present just the calendar image, there we go. So this was the final page of the proposal overview that you received from our principals and our leadership team. And I just want to draw a reference to how this flows in terms of the calendar. So we are currently in the last week of step 3, as the board approved last Monday night. And that is the week of October 5th that you see in the green shaded row at the top of what is being displayed. So the difference that we're presenting in the proposal tonight for the board is meeting that desire to increase in-person instruction for our students that are in cohorts 1 and 2. Specifically, there was mention to increasing for our youngest learners We went to work, quite honestly, Tuesday of last week after the meeting to begin discussing all the information that we were, feedback we were getting from parents, the discussion that we had during the board meeting, and conversations, of course, that our building level leaders that we're having with their teachers and parents each day that may not have gotten to the board or myself, or may have not been in attendance on the meeting. So the proposed amendment on the table is to switch the step 4 hybrid schedule for those students and families that have selected the traditional in-person option, which are the students in cohort 1 and 2, and they would now attend school 4 days a week. So cohort 1 and 2 will attend together on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. However, we will maintain the modified day for at least the 3 weeks that were approved by the board last Monday night. This is no change for students in cohort 3, and this is no change to the middle or high school step 4 schedule. They will still expand to the full day but will remain in the cohorted approach. So as the proposal overview said, we're doubling in-person instruction time while still being very mindful of health and safety. This will push back the in-school lunch period and in-person specials classes until we transition to step 5, which based on the decision of the board tonight, we will go back to defining what step 5 is, but we felt it was important to get the decision on this first. So, probably not a perfect solution for some of our parents, but also I think mindful of those parents that many who still want us to do our best on health and safety and to try and limit quarantining and the incidence of positive cases. So I will pause now, and if there's any questions from any members of the board, I'll make sure our elementary principals can answer those.
I have a question, and that is, obviously this is going to impact class sizes, right?
Yes.
Okay, what, have we enhanced our safety protocols to make sure that the increased class sizes will not have a negative impact?
Well, there is no assurance of the same level of social distancing in the classroom when we bring both cohorts back. However, outside of that, all of our safety protocols are still in place, and the common area spaces that we would have been mixing cohorts of students in with the previous approved step 4 on the full day will not be used. So there is a balance here, Dr. Demas. However, that balance includes more students being in the traditional classroom. However, they are not going in to the specials classroom areas, back to back throughout a day, and students from different classrooms will not be gathering in the cafeteria for lunch in this step 4 schedule. Other questions that you might have? Mrs. Wycheck, I know you're with us tonight. If you could just maybe do just a little bit better job than I did on that instruction piece, please, and the careful consideration that the team went through in the work that you did last week, Tuesday to Thursday.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. So we have given, our whole elementary team has given a lot of consideration to the needs of our students, the needs of our families, and frankly, the request from our Board of Education last week to bring more in-person instruction to our students that are in the traditional path. And so we elementary principals have worked on this proposal to amend the step 4 so that our students would go 4 days a week. And I'll talk about some of the instructional benefits of that. But first, I want to say, before we even brought this proposal to consideration of administration, we wanted to bring this proposal to our teaching staff, because we know our teachers are the ones who will make any plan happen. And we brought this to all of the elementary teaching staff last week, and 140 out of our 143 elementary teachers support this plan. That's 98% of our elementary teachers. It was an overwhelming response, really, because their concerns are in the same place all of our concerns are. We know that the in-person place is where the magic happens with teaching and learning. And we know that for our kids in the traditional path, it is best to get them in school as much as possible under safe conditions. So as Dr. Robinson said, this plan doubles the amount of in-person instruction as compared to what we have previously been doing in the hybrid path. This plan also, in addition to giving more in-person instruction for core subject areas, it also offers more opportunity for our students who receive special services to receive those services in person. So those would be our students who receive special education or intervention support or language support. They're getting a little bit, or they're getting quite a lot more opportunity for in-person intervention. This also significantly reduces screen time. And I know that is a concern that has been brought up from a number of different stakeholders, whether it's parents or teachers or members of our board. We know that it is not ideal for our youngest learners to be on a screen all day. And so by providing more in-person time, we are also providing less screen time. And also, this is going to be a plan that allows our teachers to really focus their instructional planning efforts. Our instructional task force and our teachers have really worked hard to provide great instruction in the hybrid model, but it's very, very challenging because those teachers are planning for both asynchronous learning and in-person learning, and it is just a whole lot of planning, you know, probably double from what they're used to. And you're adding that on top of the new challenges and stresses that are just coming with teaching in a pandemic. And so we saw how challenging and what a heavy lift that is. And this proposal would allow us to eliminate some of those duplication of efforts so that our teachers can really focus their planning and really give their very best to our students. At the same token, this is going to significantly reduce the demand on parents and caregivers to be supporting core instruction. So this will be much more similar to traditional times where parents and caregivers are certainly welcome and encouraged to support their children's learning, but they are not going to have the heavy lift of having to monitor all of their child's core instruction that has been happening on these remote days. So we just think overall the instructional benefits of this plan are very, very powerful.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Wycheck. So, and thank you for sharing the notion that we got this in front of all of our elementary teachers, because I forgot that, and that was intrinsic when we began down this road, that we wanted to make sure we had the support of our staff. So the only other thing I want to highlight is we are maintaining the remote Wednesdays, and we believe that is important to keep a consistent connection to that all remote learning, these will sequence much better because all 3 cohorts are on the same schedule and the level specific Wednesday schedule. And we will have now had our in-person students, not experiencing all remote days coming into those Wednesdays. They'll have consistent in-person instruction. So that really aligns all 3 cohorts, although the teachers are different on the Wednesdays. And I am hopeful that we'll be able to continue to trend in the right direction with our cases in that, and that we can bring to the board an update next Monday. And then again on the 26th, be looking at our transition to step 5 as we enter into November. So that's all the information we have to kind of circle back and update those that are on the meeting tonight. I know the board received that in the information we gave you last Friday.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a 5-page document, so a lot of information for us to absorb. I think just wanted to reiterate the natural next question from our middle school and high school parents is, why not our kids? Why not our teachers? But there is just, by the nature of those schedules, there would be so much more mixing of kids that it would end up, we're afraid, in situations where we were not able to keep them in a small group, and so potentially quarantining a lot of people. So that's where we are right now with that, is my understanding is, that's why we're not doing this model at all levels.
Right. And we're equipped and ready with the necessary staffing to begin to do our secondary students lunch, on site, connecting them to the full day. We've got our plans, as we've mentioned, for our middle school students who are interested in some extracurricular to begin to participate in those in the days they're in person. So not apples to apples in any way. But we feel that this really is necessary, and our middle school and high school students are more independent. And I'm not saying that what they're doing is our ideal state, but I think the board would agree. We've heard far less concerns with the middle and high school level, and we still intend on developing a step 5 for them as well.
Dr. Robinson,
Yes, sir.
are the students 6 feet apart?
In these elementary classrooms, we cannot ensure that all of the seating is 6 feet apart. But there will be a large number of students in a classroom that would not be in close contact with a potential positive case. But I can tell you that case management at the health department is looked at very differently with the youngest learners than it is with secondary students. But we still have seating charts and things like that. I think in the incidence of a positive case at an elementary building, it is likely that the entire class would be quarantined. In this case, that would mean not just cohort 1 or cohort 2, like the first several weeks of the school year, but if the board approves this tonight and both of those cohorts are in class, then it is likely the entire class would have to be quarantined. But we will work in each case with the health department and allow those experts to decide, as they have for up to this point in time this school year.
Okay.
Anything else from the board? Any other questions?
No, I don't think there's any question as to the need, but I still, and I'm sure others still have the concern for not compromising, if possible, the health and safety protocols. So whatever we can do there to sustain those protocols would be very important.
Todd, you and I had talked about the plexiglass dividers that are used in some cases. I don't know if the full board, I think it was in the document, but
Yeah.
full board is aware of the plexiglass. So that's another.
Yeah, we have student desk shields already implemented in the classrooms where they don't have individual desks. So we have those, and the principals are working with their teachers if this is approved, to look at their classrooms, get any extra furniture out, and, you know, provide as much distancing as we can.
Okay, good.
I did have one question, since I wasn't here last week, but have we seen an increase or a decrease of students wanting to switch currently which path they're on, whether it's hybrid, full online, or doing the in-person? Have we seen an increase or decrease by a large quantity or small?
No, but that opportunity really hasn't been discussed because we told parents it would be the first trimester for elementary and middle school, which is coming up in November. So we anticipate in probably another 2 weeks to begin having that conversation.
Sure.
We've had some individual incidents where a request has been made, but nothing either way.
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was any buzz of, you know, we're about a month in or more, and just seeing if people wanted to change their paths already, or you've kind of gotten that feeling at all, and any, depending on what path.
Not at this time.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Wycheck, for your presentation. Anita, did you have a question?
Nope, I'm good. All the information was thorough and exactly what the board had asked for, and, you know, I'm good.
Good. Okay, moving on then to next item on the agenda is public comment. I did want to offer, I have Allison Miller sent an email that she would like to address. The rest I have are ones to read. So Allison Miller, if you are on the call.
Yes, I just wanted, it was great to hear this. I mean, my daughter is a kindergartner, and she's learned how to mute herself and a Google Meet. And I mean, I'm sure her attitude towards school has changed, and it's really concerning. And so when this was being talked about, that's exactly what I want to hear, because it's very troubling that she's just not getting enough. She's not learning enough at this level. I mean, she's online, and other than the 2 days a week where she's in person, she's online for 15 minutes, and she's not. That's not enough. And
Right.
That's all I really wanted to say. Happy to hear that this is being brought up. So that's all.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Is there anyone else on the call that would like to address the board before I read the ones that I have?
I would like to, if I can. This is Shelley Rosso.
Okay.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to say again, thank you for all of your time and energy, and for always looking out for what's best for our children. Obviously, not everybody has always agreed, but I appreciate you hearing us, and I appreciate you willing to be flexible with the plan. And I, for one, although I'm concerned about my child being in a room with that many kids, think this is a great compromise, and I would be happy to support it. I'm looking forward to it. I hope that you all see that you can vote for it. I really appreciate it. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Who else would like to address the board tonight?
My name is Joan Hobeck. I don't
Joan
know if you
Hobeck,
can hear me.
okay.
Yep. I'm a grandparent of an elementary school child, and I have been doing the remote learning with him for, you know, since school started. And I will tell you, it's very, very difficult. There's been virtually no online instruction, no feedback from the teacher. I think the kids should be going full time, but I'm glad to hear that you guys are looking at these 4 half days, because I also believe they need to be in school. And I want to thank the Board of Ed and the teachers. I know you guys have worked really hard through the summer, I'm sure. And hopefully this is a path that will bring us to full-time instruction, because the kids really do need it. The home setting is nothing like in-school setting for them to learn. So thank you very much.
Thank
I
you.
support what you're doing here tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nicole. Nicole Welch. I also am a parent of a middle school and elementary. I want to agree with Joan and appreciate you all for taking the time to go back and look at this to amend. Mr. Robinson, thank you for involving your staff. It's awesome to hear that they are also in support of this. I'm ready for full-time learning, but appreciate the steps to getting them back face-to-face as quickly as possible. It is definitely needed in elementary. I'm seeing that very clearly with my son, who gets ecstatic and excited to go to school on his in school days and dreads having to do his on the tablet days. So appreciate you guys looking into this and listening to the parents from the last meeting who were asking for this, and doing your due diligence over the past week to really make these plans come together. So I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Catherine Ellerbrock. Can I comment?
Yes, Catherine, go ahead.
Okay, so this is Catherine Ellerbrock. I'm a parent at Hamilton Parsons Elementary. I want to thank the elementary principals and teachers for their time and for this recommendation this evening. I think that parents in the community who chose the traditional path are going to be very happy to hear that. And personally, I think that our teachers and those principals are on the front lines with our kids every day. They always do what is best for our kids, and this is a perfect example of that. So I just want to thank them for their time. I know that there is more risk having them together in class, but I think that parents of elementary students know that they are already together. They are playing outside with other kids from other cohorts. They're playing on travel teams. They are all hanging out together. They're all intermixing anyway. So throwing them into the same classroom really is not going to make a huge difference, I think. So I think it's a decision for their education. I appreciate you taking the time to consider this. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Mary. I was wondering if I could say something.
Sure, Mary, your last name, please?
Shnitka.
Okay.
I wanted to say thank you, especially to hear all the support from the teachers. 140 out of 143. That's just amazing. And considering that it was from last week to this week, the 4 half days is a great step forward. I was wondering, for middle school, is that going to change as well? And then what are we thinking as far as considering for the full-time days?
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else like to address the board?
This is Lou Welch.
Okay.
Again, I just want to, obviously from last week, my public comment, but I just want to thank all of the board, Dr. Robinson for his hard work and all of his staff putting this together and coming up with a compromise. I really appreciate all of you guys going to work and getting that done. But after last week's meeting, it kind of caused me to start watching some of the social media, not so much commenting, more just watching it. And it's very disheartening to see some of the reaction from our parents. And I feel like I really highly recommend the district put out a note regarding count days. There's a lot of social media from the parents not to send their kids, and that's not what we want in our schools. We may not always agree with the board. It's not always meant to agree. Again, like I said last week, we all have our own opinions. But I'm very disheartened that we could short the district funding because we don't agree with the board not sending your kids for count day. That's not a solution. That's working against. So I really think Dr. Robinson's office should put something out on that subject. That's a little disheartening. And then my only other comment is for the board members who are concerned about social distancing. Again, to my comment last week, I would ask you to watch our football games. I hate to pick on the football team, but there is no social distancing on the football field, on the sideline. And we don't seem to care about that, but yet we care about it affecting the education of our students. So that's my comment. I appreciate it. Thank you, Bill.
Okay,
And
thank you.
leadership on the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I have a question.
I see the name Carl Blanchard, but you don't sound like Carl.
No, it's Chris Blanchard. Thank you.
Okay. Yep.
If the kids are going to go back for 4 hours, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, do they have to have afternoon online time also, or is 4 hours enough a day? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'll all be out in the communication that you'll get today, yes?
Yes, if the board approves the resolution tonight, we have a detailed communication for parents to come out tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and read through the requests that I've had. I've got about 5 or 6. This one is from Andrea Forsythe, Forsythe. I would like to thank the board for allowing full days of schools to resume soon. However, when I told my 3rd grader that she had tears and said, I can't go a full day. When asked why, she said, I can't wear a mask that long. With having the 2 in-person cohorts and being able to maintain 6-foot distance in the classroom, I would love to see the masks only being needed on the bus, walking to the classroom, and when 6-foot distance cannot be maintained. This was the original plan, and I hope to see it returning to that. Thank you. This one is from Sarah DeFour, DEFOUR. I'm writing concerning the reporting of COVID-19 cases in the district. I've addressed it with an email to Mrs. Riley and she replied promptly. I appreciate that. However, I would still like to know why students and parents district-wide are not made aware of positive cases at locations their students did not attend. The answer I got from Mrs. Riley was the district is following the guidelines of the Macomb County Health Department on all aspects of case management, including notification of families. Other districts are sending out notifications via email, school websites, and their Facebook pages about positive COVID-19 cases and locations. My concern is this: my daughter has a close friend who's a sibling in middle school. If it wasn't for the close relationship I have with the parent, I would not have known there was a case in middle school. Also, my daughter and I are still good friends with the students, and she went to preschool with and have been social with them. They attend a different school, and that is how I found out about a positive case there. Another example, we attended a classmate's birthday party and found out from a parent that there was a case at Hevel in the high school. I think it is irresponsible to not notify all students and parents of the district of positive COVID cases. I do not need to know if it was a staff member or student. I would like to know the location so that I can prepare for social distance or get tested myself if I feel that I was exposed. I'm very confident with our district schools and staff to keep our students and community safe. Being transparent with the positive COVID-19 cases would make a lot of households more comfortable with the decisions the school board and leadership teams make. Okay. That was another public comment. Does anyone have desire to address the board before I read a few more?
Ross Gillette, I've got a comment.
Gillette, okay.
Hi, I'm a parent of 2 Hampar students, both kindergarten and 3rd grade. And I'll say, I know this won't be a popular comment, but really appreciate all the time and effort that all the staff and the board put into the hybrid approach. I'd say both my wife and I are very comfortable with the kids coming back to school to the level that they have, especially with the class sizes essentially cut in half. So I'll say my opinion is a little bit of the contrary of most, where the plan that's being proposed, where class sizes will be back to, I'll say, full size, starting as early as next week, is a little concerning, obviously, from a health perspective and everything that we have going on. Totally understand the difficulty being a parent of 2 and the additional stress, this adds to families and whatnot. and I get the importance of that for our, for our kids and all of that. It seems like we're making a little bit of a trade there for, and safety is going to go a little bit to the side here. I guess my question is, have we taken the time and the effort to ensure that we are putting whatever protocols need to be put in place, that if we go back to full classrooms, we're doing that in a responsible manner? This is sounds very quick, and I just want to make sure we're taking the time to do it smartly. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And I did just want to clarify that the remote group is still remote. So I hear your point, but I did want to clarify that it's not full capacity yet. Who else would like to address the board? Okay, let me read another. This one is from Lori Zender, Zehnder. And she says, as of Friday, Governor Whitmer's emergency executive orders were ruled illegal and unconstitutional by the Michigan Supreme Court. It is in effect immediately, and making our children wear masks while at school is in direct violation of the Michigan Constitution and the Supreme Court ruling. It is not the law to have to wear a mask at school. I have kept my 2 boys out of school this entire time because I refuse to make them wear a mask all day long, and it is their God-given right to breathe with adequate amounts of oxygen. Romeo Schools needs to move forward and let the children go back to school without masks. Here's another from Vanessa Mallow, Mallo. As of Friday, Governor Whitmer's emergency executive orders were ruled illegal and unconstitutional by the Michigan Supreme Court. It is in effect immediately, and making our children wear masks while at school is in direct violation of the Michigan Constitution and the Supreme Court ruling. It is not the law to have to wear a mask at school. My son has issues with wearing a mask, and it makes him sick to his stomach. Even though he wants to be in school, he fights me about the mask. Romeo Schools needs to move forward and let the children go back to school without masks. This is from Brielle, forgive me, Cichocki, Cichocki. I have a first grader and a preschooler in Romeo Schools, plus I have a 2-year-old. My first grader does hybrid, and the struggle to do virtual school is stressful. Our neighborhood app has tons of residents around our house complaining that the internet hasn't been working, and it's putting a lot of stress on my first grader and me to be able to accomplish his homework. I'm even trying to do hotspots and it's still not working. When it does work, we hurry up and get whatever we can done. This is not education. That's not fair to him or me. My son deserves to be able to do all his homework during school hours in person and be able to do all his specials with his classmates, not at home being forced to hurry up and do it or not do it at all. And the last one that I have for public comment, as many have been discussing, this news that came out Friday from the Supreme Court deserves careful consideration by our Board of Education. Our students deserve to be back in school full-time, unmasked. Our hospitals are no longer overwhelmed, and we have flattened the curve. It is time for the board to consider removing the mask mandate as of this news Friday, and the news coming out from Mark Hackle and Macomb County that states that masks will no longer be required countywide. Enough is enough. Stand up for our students. That was from Tabitha Woods, Woods. And that's all the public comment I have. Is there anyone else on the call that would like to address the board? Public comment? No? Okay. Then we will move on to regular meeting action item, resolution number 81, RCS COVID-19 Preparedness Plan Amendment, elementary, sorry, I cut off my screen here, elementary in-person step 4 schedule update. Do I have a motion? Moved by Mrs. Bonick.
Support.
Support by Dr. Demas. Questions, clarification, discussion, board? No? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay.
So Mrs. Riley, I know we're up against adjournment, but you had some of those public comments in terms of the Supreme Court decision Friday. I know the board knows because I've sent you some updates today that, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services passed a public health ordinance that backfills the safety protocols and the mask mandates through October 30th. We are working with our legal counsel as well as the county leadership. And so a couple meetings tomorrow, and I will put together a communication to all of our parents. I also want to remind everybody on the meeting that, we did get some communication a week ago Friday from the governor about reporting confirmed cases in school districts. However, there's been no clarification from her office of what that meant. And we are following the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services case management protocol that the Macomb County Health Department is instituting, as I believe is common across all health departments. And so our desire is transparency, but right now we're trying to stick with the fidelity of the protocols that all 21 districts in the county are following. So as soon as we get further clarification of what the governor, what her intent was, we will realign as necessary. And I hope to inform the board of that by Monday's meeting next week.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting? Moved by Dr. Demas, support by Mrs. Bonnet. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Have a good evening.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Chris.